What brings you as an engineer to coaching?
To me, there's no difference between coaching and engineering. They both involve a fascination with the material that I'm confronting. In engineering, I'm searching for the truth, and I'm doing it in a community of people. It's true that we're trying to build something. We have agendas and schedules. But the motivating factor is the fascination with the machinery. With coaching, it's the human machinery, which really is even more fascinating. I mean, we're the most complex machinery in the known universe. And the potential, the possibility for what we can create when we cooperate with each other, when we collaborate, is beyond our wildest dreams. I think that we've just begun to learn what human beings can accomplish together. And we've already accomplished a lot with technology, but when you think about it, there's things that we haven't accomplished yet. We really haven't learned how to get along with each other. I mean, many of us do, but half of our marriages break up. We still have lots of countries, fighting amongst themselves, tribes who can barely tell themselves apart, or are killing each other or have killed each other. And the question is, what is the inside human joke that causes us to do this? Our need to be right and make other people wrong. We know a lot less than we think we do. And when we hold on to that position of how much we know, it creates conflict. So at the level we're operating, we're creating conflict all the time, but we can become aware of that. When we become aware of what our own machinery is doing, it transforms us. And when we're transformed, we can relate to people differently. Presence and connection take on a whole new meaning. We can meet somebody that we've never seen before and relate to them as if we've known them for 100 years, because we're more alike than we are different. And another area that I think is really a principle of human behavior that a lot is known about. I mean, there's a science of it called epistemology, which has to do with what it means to know something. And when we incorporate some of these very simple principles, what it means is that we discover what it means to actually know something, and we realize how much we don't know. And what it does is it provides a whole new platform for communicating with each other, because what we know comes primarily from our experience. And then intimacy and relating are a matter of sharing our experience. And when we learn to do that, it's a fairly simple thing, and it changes everything. And when we make that change, we can literally transform other people with our way of being.
It seems to me that you have a mastery about understanding the components of things. Do you use special listening skills in working with someone? Borrowing from your engineering background, are you listening for something specific when you are working with a client?
Yes, I listen for the pattern of their thoughts and the presence of emotion and the extent to which they are aware of those things happening. And so the questioning that I pursue is oriented toward increasing their awareness of their own machinery as they become aware of what they're feeling, the sensations in their body, and aware of their thoughts in their mind. That gives them the ability to transcend the subjective experience of being alive, being in the movie, and allows them to watch the movie at an objective level, which gives them choices in their behavior.
What's your hope for humanity as we begin to move forward?
Well, it's a funny thing. I would choose the word faith rather than the word hope. A lot of people, when they use the word hope, they mean faith. But there's another side of hope, which is sort of, gee, I'm in a tough situation. I hope something comes along and fixes it for me. So to me, faith is a way of engaging myself more responsibly. I don't oppose other people using the word hope in that sense. It's just that I'm sensitive to that particular distinction. And yes, I have a great deal of faith because, the human machinery it's amazingly capable. The problem is that our greatest strengths are also our greatest weaknesses. We're taught to not make judgments about people, but judgments is one of our greatest strengths. And we make a judgment every time we decide whether, we should stop for the yellow light or go on through. We're constantly making judgments, and we're really good at some of them, the ones that, become the fodder of our daily lives. And we can fall into traps if we're not aware of what our mind is doing. Our mind is constantly collecting data, seeing objects around us, seeing people, and noticing things. A lot of times we notice things unconsciously and react to them without being aware of what our own mind is doing. We can see something and then have a collection of thoughts about it, have some emotional reactions which start, feeding on each other. And, we're going on a Nantucket sleigh ride without even realizing what's happening in our own machinery. When we become aware of that, when we practice becoming aware of that, it allows us to come back to the sensate reality and be with people rather than getting sidetracked by what our own machinery is doing.
In closing, would you say that you are easy to work with? Many people find engineers, technical people, frightening because they know so much and they're very organized. How would you describe the experience of working with you?
I think that, I will challenge people. I start out by telling people that they can say anything that they want to me. And I promised them a lifetime of forgiveness. And I stole that line from Thomas Leonard. So the idea is to create a communication vehicle, a channel that is tentative and provides a learning vehicle for relating in a totally open, honest way. The other thing Thomas Leonard said was, he said that you can say anything to anyone as long as you're unconditionally constructive and charge neutral. That means, not angry and not trying to patronize or flatter the person. And so it's really about honesty. To me, the underlying principles are about truthfulness and honesty, and about presence and connection. And when those two things are present, people learn together at the maximum possible rate.